Alrighty, guys and gals, this is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the Daily Roundup webinar. Hope everybody's having a great trading session. And wow, we're seeing some, obviously, some very, very high volatility and some of these, some of these stocks. And I want to talk about that just for a minute. I tweeted something out there that said, you know, when the poop starts floating, you got to be really careful. And so when you see these types of moves in these types of stocks, and here's the tweet so you can kind of see what I posted this from Zero Hedge, but this specific chart, and you can see like GameStop, Fizz, Dillard's. Dillard's is this retailer that's probably at some point in the very near future going to go out of business. You're just seeing like these big stocks that really shouldn't be moving, but there's a huge short interest in them. They start squeezing higher, and that's usually we're getting close to probably a high in equities. And I remember this back in the 90s. We'd see very similar type of action, or early 2000s, excuse me, and we were just discussing it about you got to be really, really careful here. GameStop, I mean, today, you look at what the stock has done. We've gone from $60 to 160, and then back down to 80. I mean, this is some pretty manic stuff. Now, there's obviously other things that are happening right now that we need to pay pretty close attention to, and some pretty big developments. So one of them being the Aussie. The Aussie is now starting to break below its channel support, and we are probing below 77 cents. I am short some, a little bit higher than where we're currently at, but I want it to stay below this trend line, and actually below 77 cents would be optimal for what I'm trying to do. But I think it is something that you have to pay pretty close attention to, because I think the risk is that the Aussie might start breaking down towards the 76.30 level, and this support, if this support goes, that's going to be pretty negative for the Aussie, and then also for risk. Kiwi is holding up really well, and one of the reasons why the Kiwi is holding up so well, in my opinion, is because it is, excuse me really quick. Okay. The Kiwi is holding up really well because the inflation data was so strong a couple of days ago. But if risk really decides to turn lower, the Kiwi will probably suffer, and I would assume that below 71.50 things start to get, that's the old neckline, things start to get pretty bearish for the Kiwi. You have currencies like the Aussie Canadian, the US dollar Canadian spiking above resistance here. Dollar Mexican peso made a big strong move above resistance, so now dips to 20, should be pretty well supported on the dollar Mexican peso. US dollar Norwegian krona started to squeeze higher. We completed a bull flag pattern. I didn't think it was going to complete as fast as it did because I had some long, but it did. She spiked up and it's come down a little bit. We're seeing some of the crosses, like the Euro Aussie. We had this bull flag pattern here on an hourly, and we're trying to break higher. I'm trying. The Euro New Zealand still's building a base here. Pound Aussie, we're trying to maintain a breakout above the 618 retracement, which is the 77.40 level. Pound New Zealand, this still has some work. I think the New Zealand pairs are still trading pretty heavy. Obviously I just showed you the Euro New Zealand, the Pound New Zealand as well, but that doesn't mean that it's going to stay that way. Let's take a look at the S&P, where we're currently at. So the S&P, obviously we, tested the 50% retracement. We're holding below this 38.40, and I think this is going to hold You know, this should hold right here. But it's going to be interesting to see where the S&P closes. I think if we close below this 38% retracement, which is, let's just say roughly 38.20, we close below that, and then, you know, we should be looking at a move back down towards over time, over the course of the next couple of weeks, maybe back down towards 3,700. Remember, it's still a big week this week with the FOMC. What else did I want to talk about? You know, cryptocurrencies are holding up pretty well. Bitcoin hasn't really done a whole lot today. Gold and silver bounced back, but they're pretty much flat. And the dollar index as a whole, let's go just take a real quick look at the dollar index as a whole, okay, has bounced, but I think really what we should be looking for with the dollar index is maybe a breach above highs. And I think if we can break above the highs, that would put 91 back into play. Looks like the 50% retracement is holding. So let's focus on just a few things. And I'm going to just give you a couple of things to really look at going into this afternoon. So again, the S&P 38.20, I think, is going to be really key. It's kind of like that intraday bull bear line. The Aussie dollar, even though I'm short a little bit, I'd really like to see it close, you know, below 77 cents. That would be optimum. And keep an eye on like this. Keep an eye on the dollar Mexican peso. I think this is a pretty good barometer of risk on, risk off. And you know, yes, we blew up higher. Yes, we're pulling back a little bit, but I think what's going to be more important is can we build on these gains, and can we break above like this, you know, 2026 resistance? And I think if we can do that, that's going to be pretty bullish for the dollar mex. It's going to be bearish for risk. Okay. And let's see, just a couple quick questions. Puha says, if Tesla does that, I guess that is confirmation of a top in equities. Let's take a look at Tesla. I haven't even looked at Tesla today, but let's take a look at it. Oh, you mean if it squeezes higher like that? You know, Tesla, there's a lot of interest in Tesla, but what I guess what I would be looking for in Tesla, just looking at it, I'll wait for this bottom trend line to be breached, because what this has done maybe a double top, false breakout. And if we break below this support, so, you know, let's just call it 80.30, we break below that low, I think that would be pretty bearish for Tesla. Irina, sorry, I'm a little tired. Irina asked Blake, what's with the euro US dollar, please? Is it bearish now? I'm not in the camp that the euro dollar is going to be too influenced by equities. I think the euro dollar is I think the euro dollar is going to move based on well, the dollar will gain strength, but I think if we're risk off, like let's say stocks come down, let's just argument's sake, let's say the S&P corrects 5% from current levels. Does the euro come down? Yeah, I mean, the euro could come down to 120, maybe 120.50, maybe 119. It'll come down a little bit, but I think you're gonna find coming down more is you're gonna find the commodity currencies like the Aussie and the Kiwi and the Canadian. Those are gonna move more. And so what that really means is, if you want to play risk off, you buy the Euro Aussie, you buy the Euro New Zealand, you buy the Euro Canadian, something like that. I think that's going to be the better trade. Jason says, is GameStop the new Tesla? Laugh out loud. Yeah, because the retailer GameStop, and I'm gonna just be totally frank with you as far as GameStop goes. I've gone in there a few times over the years just because my kids are teenagers and they do play games. Whenever I go into GameStop, it's usually me and the person that's working there, and we might be lucky if there's another person in there. That's it. You know, and I'm sure it's different wherever you go, but the one that's closest to where I live, that's pretty much the situation. And Jason says, correct. That company was months away from bankruptcy. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, you know, but the market was extremely short, waiting for a bankruptcy and waiting for the stock to go to zero. And here they are, you know, you're squeezing the last bit of shorts out of the market right now, squeezing them, taking everything you can possibly take from those funds right now. So anyway, guys, I want to thank you all for your support, and I want to thank you all for being here. I'm going to sign off, but I'll see you guys in the chat room. And remember, starting next week, we're going to be doing the bias chart as a ForexAnalytix group. You know, so private for you guys. And also, I'm going to be removing. I think what we're going to do on the bias chart is I'm going to remove like the Swissy for now, and I'm going to put on Bitcoin. So I'm going to switch this up a little bit. I think that's what I'm going to do going into this next week. And then, you know, at some point, Bitcoin's going to fall out of favor and the currencies are going to be back in favor. And then, you know, that'll change. But for right now, I think that's what I'm going to do. All right, guys and gals, have a great one. Thank you so much for your support. I'll talk to you soon.